All right, and here we have our Protoss player. They call him the final toss because he was the only Protoss to get to the round of 16 last Codes season. He's been very, very consistent. He is none other than TSL's Killer.
At the top left of the map, we have our blue Terran player. We have jjakji, and he has to face a Protoss opponent. Yesterday, we already had one Son of Ire, and he was not all too successful. Genius had quite a hard time in his group, and we'll see if Killer is able to at least take... Well, we have to admit that Genius yesterday at least took out an ST, so that was quite a nice win.
Gotta hand him that.
I mean, it didn't do him all that much good as he didn't advance to the next group, but maybe Killer will, so this is going to be pretty exciting, especially for all those Protoss fans amongst you. jjakji against Killer, Protoss against Terran, and we are on Tal'Dorei Malta.
And Killer is actually, I think, the better Protoss between those two as well. Killer has been very, very consistently in the round of 16 sort of area of Codes. He's always sitting around there. He hasn't really gotten too far, hasn't really, you know, been close to getting a championship, but he is very, very consistently a solid top Protoss player, definitely one of the top few Protosses in the world. So if anyone's going to be able to get out of their group, it's going to be Killer in that case. And he's facing off against jjakji, who is a very unproven Terran. So I think this is a good opportunity for Killer to get an early lead in the group.
Killer was a little bit lucky with his scouting. He detected the Terran player on the first position that he checked out, so he knows exactly what's happening in the main base of the Terran player, knows about the gas timing, and all that stuff is really, really important. As a Protoss player, you want to know if you can safely expand, especially on a map like Tal'Dorei Malta, where usually the Terran players will at some point get the expansion, but we've seen a lot of Terrans trying to do some double barracks pressuring, even with triple barracks going for an all-in. And quite often it works, as the first Marine will be able to deny the scouting, but jjakji is just trying to chase down that probe, and Killer already knows about the tech lab, he knows about concussive shell. That is probably the upgrade that jjakji is researching right now, so he's aware that Marauders will be in the mix and can react accordingly.
Yeah, very good scouting there by Killer, able to spot that tech lab. And as you said, the fact that he saw the tech lab researching indicates to him that this isn't a Reaper, this is a build that's going to be concussive shell Marauders, and that SCV does not get too far in, but gets close enough to see that there is no second gas for Killer, which is also very important, because that's now he's going to think, okay, well, he's probably going to be expanding off of this as well.
And that's that command center that we've been talking about. jjakji is taking his expansion. He has 2 Marauders already, and with the information that Killer has, obviously he's not going to try to put some early pressure onto the Terran play. He knows about the concussive shells, and if he would move out, he would lose both of his Stalkers, so he's taking it easy. It's just chilling, and will probably start his own Nexus very, very soon with 1 gate. Would surprise me quite a bit if he would go to for some additional production facilities.
Yeah, especially since he can kind of imagine that jjakji is going to be expanding as well. In fact, he had a probe hidden behind jjakji's expansion base to check when that command center did go up. I don't know if it's still there or not, but I think he might have had that information. There's the Nexus going up for Killer. So, as expected on Tal'Dorei Malta, a bit of a macro game, but here's these 3 Marauders moving across the map with concussive shells upgraded. That is a pretty significant little force.
He's researching Stim as well, so he's planning on some aggression, and we have 1 Reaper, so it would be kind of interesting to see if the Reaper is not only able to scout the main base of the Protoss player, but also maybe taking out a couple of drones. And as we already mentioned, Killer is getting that expansion himself. There's a bunker just in case there's some gateway pressure by the Protoss player. And yeah, jjakji is in a kind of good situation right now. He has a lot of, well, he has the defenses in order to deal with pressure, but has started to take his second gas, so he will be able to get some tech up as well fairly soon.
Yep.
Whereas we have for Killer immediately the robotics bay, 1 gate into Robo after the expansion.
Yes, indeed, and it looks like this Reaper is probably going to be for scouting purposes of what I thought it would be. He's going to send it around to the bottom of Killer's base. There is a pylon there. He's going to spot that Reaper coming into his base, but I don't think it's going to be able to stop him from getting in far enough to see the robotics bay. Or the robotics facility, rather. And, oh, he's trying to go for it, though. Reaper is going to actually skirt around the other side. Oh, the Probe's going to block it.
Ah, nice.
Probes, not able to trap that Reaper, but it will just barely not see. Oh, he did see it. I'm sorry. It was at the very edge of his vision. No, never mind. It's because he got the scan off that he was able to see that robotics facility.
And I have to correct myself. I didn't see those 2 additional gateways that he built, so I was under the assumption that he was playing after the Nexus straight into the robotics bay on only 1 warp gate, which would have been really, really risky. But he already had 3 gateways up, so sorry for that small blunder. And here are the forces for jjakji. 7 Marauders, 7 Marines, and the robotics bay being built as well. So right now it's pretty standard. Well, for jjakji, we are already seeing the first engineering bay. He will start those upgrades for the bio units. The factory will be followed up with a Stargate in order to get those medivacs. And I hope that jjakji will just start with that drop play. And of course, for the Terran player, it's only a matter of time until we will see some Ghost play and Vikings as well against the Colossus as a opponent. And yeah, Protoss players have been struggling quite a lot against Terran, especially with the current radius of the EMP and all those ghosts are fairly strong. Kind of interested to see how Killer is going to deal with that situation, because that's something that basically every Protoss has been struggling against so far.
Yeah, that is a sizable chunk of Marauders. They can do some serious damage, and it's interesting that Killer's actually going for the Colossus tech. He's going ahead and getting that Colossus out. Going ahead and getting the Thermal Lance upgrade as well, and so he's going to have that kind of tech, but that's a lot of Marauders, and Marauders can soak up damage from Colossus pretty well, although it looks like this little attack is going to land before Colossus are out, before the upgrades are done. This could do some serious damage. Killer with only 1 sentry will not be able to control the pace of the battle and control the battlefield very well. Oh, I'm sorry, he does have 4 sentries, but
I think he warped 3 of them just in at the... Well, when you mentioned it, he only had 1 sentry, and it would have been a little bit difficult to force field the ramp with only 1 sentry, but right now he controls 4 of them, so that will be a little bit easier. And we have 1 Colossus out as well. Extended Thermal Lance is not done just yet, and here comes the Terran player once again. He's controlling the map right now. He has 2 medivacs in the mix as well, and he's getting combat shield plus 1 attack. So yeah, taking it easy right now, getting a 3rd phase as well, and taking out that bloody Observer that annoyed him probably for quite a while now.
Ooh, and as soon as the Observer is dead, loads up for a drop. And he's actually been really good about killing off those Observers. He's killed 2 or 3 this game, making sure he keeps Killer in the dark so Killer does not know what's going on very well. And this drop is heading around to the south. I don't know how effective this is going to be, because Killer has his army positioned in a place that he can move it back to the back to defend pretty easily. And, you know, without pressuring the front at the same time, I don't know how much jjakji is going to get done by just attacking with half of his army.
We have a Twilight Council being built as well, by the way, so he's probably going for Blink and Charge, whereas this drop might hit him quite hard. There are a lot of Marauders in there as well, so that might be difficult to deal with. Here we go, the pylon has been taken out. He needs to pay attention to those Colossi. Moving 1 to the back just in time. And
here
we have a 2nd drop in the main base, but Killer is aware of what's happening, taking out the first medivac. And here we go, warp in some Zealots, and dropping again at the bottom. A lot of pressure onto Killer. jjakji with some nice drop light, taking out 2 additional pylons. Supply blocking his opponent even more.
Yeah, pretty good. It was a good idea by jjakji, you know, going in, dropping the top, dropping the bottom, dropping the top, back and forth. But I don't know if he really accomplished enough with that. He killed off some pylons, but he didn't really get very many units. He didn't get any critical tech structures. So Killer, he's just going to build a few more pylons, and he's going to be okay, not suffering too much damage from that.
Yeah, the Terran player on 3 bases now. Killer obviously wants to try to get a 4th base as well, and is researching the +2 attack and armor upgrade as well as charge. He's playing with a pretty gateway-heavy army right now. He's obviously getting more Colossus. He needs those to deal the damage to the Terran army, but still with Zealots and charge, he has another weapon in his arsenal to fight off the Terran army. But the main problem for him is that we have a couple of Vikings in the mix for the Terran player as well, and with the Ghost Academy finished, there will be EMPs for the Terran player's disposal. too, so this is going to be really hard for the Protoss player, especially as jjakji is already on 3 bases and has a fairly decent economy. He didn't build another orbital though. Oh, I thought he made the planetary fortress upgrade at some point. I thought I saw that in the production tab. Maybe I was misled, or he just misclicked and realized it.
Maybe he canceled. He might. Does he? We actually can't see the left side of the minimap. Maybe he has another base down there that's hidden or something like that. I don't think so though. I don't think I saw him make another command center. But in any case, jjakji is really looking good. He's got those 3 bases. He's starting to pull ahead in the supply count. And you know something that's interesting. I don't see Killer doing anything to punish this Marauder-heavy composition. I mean, it's mostly Marauders, and he's not really getting any units that will. I mean, the Zealots are good against Marauders if you can trap them with force fields, but he doesn't really have a ton of sentries. So if he engages in open field, it might be difficult to really do much with that. So I don't know. This is going to be interesting. He does have a lot of Colossus, though, and the Vikings are not plentiful just yet, so they aren't going to be able to take those out too quickly.
Killer has an upgraded advantage right now. He's on 2-2, the Terran player is on 1-1, and Killer started to research the +1 attack upgrade as well as the armor upgrade. Sorry, the +3. And those Colossus will be able to deal a huge amount of damage, but still with all those Marauders in the mix, if they stim and are able to get into touch with the Colossi, I don't think this is going to be a really, really tough situation for the Protoss player. He might come out ahead. He's on 180 supply against 200. His upgrade advantage. But those Vikings are in a really good position. And here we go, Guardian Shield and the first charges. And those Vikings,
EMP on everything.
Jesus, the Vikings taking out all of those Colossi. The Marauders are microed very, very well, and this doesn't look good for Killer at all. He's on 140 supply against 163 right now.
And I was talking about how he couldn't control the battle with that few sentries. Well, when all of your sentries get EMP'd, you definitely cannot control the battle, and we just saw the result there. Those Marauders just fell back, kited back, killed all of the Zealots without taking too much damage. And so jjakji with a decisive win in that battle. He is, as you said, behind in upgrades, though. Killer getting 3-3 while jjakji is getting 2-2, I believe. So he definitely has that advantage if he can get something going. Is that a Dark Shrine I just saw on the production tab?
Killer took his third a little bit late, so he wasn't able to get the Dark Shrine earlier because he was concentrating on Double Forge upgrades as well as the production of Colossi. With a third base, you would have been able to either get the Dark Shrine or at least some High Templars in order to feed back the Ghosts, or at least try to get off with a couple of Storms, which is really, well, it costs a lot of gas to get all that stuff, but with the Dark Shrine he will be able not only to harass the bases of his opponent, but also to get the occasional Archon. Here comes the Templar Archive as well, so now with all those new tech, the Tex Killer might be in a better spot in the next fight, but he is already behind as he's on 180 supply against 200, and there's that upgrade advantage that we had in the earlier stage of the game for Killer that jjakji is now negating as he is researching +3 attack, +2 armor, and we have all those drops in mix as well. So the Protoss player is in a tough spot right now, trying to expand a fourth time and to put some pressure onto the Terran player. Just realize that he can't be all that passive the whole entire game.
Oh, and here's that drop just before Marauders. Going to go to work on those probes, going to force some warp ins, and that warp in makes the end of Killer's supply. He is now maxed as well, and only picks up a couple of those Marauders. He's going to probably drop them in the main, just trying to throw Killer off a little bit. And is he throwing away SCVs to get more supply?
Yep, that's exactly what he does right now. He wants more army supply, so he's just throwing away those SCVs. And here we go, another engagement, and once again the Vikings focusing all those Colossi, the Colossi retreating, and all those Marauders and the Marines stimmed and taking out Zealots and Stalkers left and right. As you can see, the Vikings are killing every single Colossus. Oh my god, that is looking horrible. The scan reveals that there's nothing that Killer can do right now.
An absolute rout with so few Stalkers. He had nothing he could do about those Vikings. They're polishing off the second to last. Only one more Colossus. The Marauders are going to charge in and target it down. No, they're forced back barely by that Archon coming in. Killer,
with all those warp-ins that he just summoned, he is able to stop that approach by jjakji. Certainly didn't expect that when he was taking out all those Colossi, but all those Zealots with charge and the 3-3 upgrades really did a number on the Marauders.
Yeah, he was able to save that last Colossus. There were just, I mean, even though the Vikings were unhindered there, they were not high enough in number to kill the Colossus off quickly. So, you know, a couple stims will take off some hit points as well. So Killer was able to barely polish that off. There's those couple Marauders coming out once again. They're going to kill off this cannon and probably not accomplish too much else. But very, very interesting situation that Killer was able to... And they're always actually warping in DTs into the main now, using an Observer and a Pylon. And jjakji, we're going to find out if his multitasking is good enough to handle this. His fourth base being blocked as well.
Now we can't check the tabs right now in order to get information about how many ACVs he was able to kill in total, but I guess it wasn't really a lot of them. We had the Terran player on 2,000 minerals just a few seconds ago. Now he's on 700. He's trying to reinforce his army. +3 being researched for jjakji. He tries to get even with Killer in terms of upgrades, but the Protoss player is researching his shield upgrades as well now. He's on 4 bases, so he definitely can afford it, and he's trying to harass the economy with Dark Templars. I've mentioned that earlier, that he was a little bit late in doing so, but now he's actually in a lot better position than I thought he would be. Killer being able to actually kill his opponent's last attempt to finish the game, and jjakji lost a lot of units and economy as well. So yeah, this is going to be difficult, but there's 7 ghosts in the army with a couple of decent EMPs. jjakji should be fine, even though he's behind in supply.
Yeah, he is actually behind in supply now. Killer has secured that 4th base down there at the right side. So Killer was way behind in economy all game, but now he's pretty much tied it up, I guess, at this point. Very interesting situation, but wow, jjakji just, you know, he threw away those SCVs to get more of an army supply, but then he actually didn't wait for that army supply to join his army when he attacked, and so he's just kind of a little bit behind, and now he doesn't have the economy, so he's actually run out of money as well.
Yeah, still, this is not going to be a walk in the park for Killer. There are all those Vikings and a lot of Colossi that will have a horrible time against the Vikings, of course. He needs to try to save them somehow. Just get in with a couple of storms and pressure the Vikings, maybe kill them off with the Stalkers before the Terran player can deal all too much damage to the Colossi. We have the +2 upgrade for shields being researched, and once again we have DTs attacking the planetary fortress. He needs to repair it, and here we go, the missile turret action. Oh, there's a big fight happening in the middle right now. Here we go, there are the Guardian shields. All the Colossi have been dealt with. Killer is dropping his supply. That's exactly what I've been talking about. 3 upgrades for the Terran player and those EMPs, and Killer is on 130 against 144 supply. Even though pressuring the Terran player with those Dark Templars, it didn't do him any good at all. When the Terran player, when jjakji even out the supply, the upgrades, the Protoss player was in a lot of pain.
Yeah, I like that little cannon, by the way, just to make sure he doesn't send cloak ghosts in to EMP him when he's not looking. But yeah, jjakji, I mean, that's the power of having enough Vikings to kill the Colossus quickly, is the Colossus just didn't do any damage in that battle. Now, we didn't see the beginning of that battle, so I didn't see if there were any storms, but that is another thing that jjakji is going to have in his favor. He's killed off this Templar now.
It's really hard for the Protoss player to deal with the ghosts, especially when they start sniping the High Templars as well. You don't only have to rely on the EMP. Obviously, EMP is really strong against Protoss, but he can also just snipe the Templars individually if need be. And here we go, jjakji just trying to run away with that Medivac. And yeah, this is a pretty interesting game. Killer is on 176 supply once again. jjakji on 176 himself is dropping.
Oh! I don't think he knew that base was there.
He didn't.
He definitely didn't know that cannon was there, so flew his injured medevac right into that cannon fire, unfortunately. But yeah, this is so close. Killer and jjakji both within a few supply of each other consistently for a lot of this game. More warpins coming in for Killer. He is now almost maxed. He's got some Templar in the mix as well. Once they have enough energy for storms, he's going to have a very significant arsenal. jjakji is waiting for another round of units. He's got how many Vikings does he have? Does he still have a lot of those Vikings?
I actually don't know.
Have you seen them lately?
To be honest, at this point in time, I think what it will come down to is who is able to take out the opponent's, spellcasters. Who is will Killer be able to feed back the ghosts or to storm them? At the same time, the question is if jjakji on the other hand is going for that EMP, all those snipes, and here we go. The fight is approaching, and where are those EMP? Here we go! Beautiful! Amazing EMPs at the same time. Now jjakji needs to retreat a little bit. There's still three Colossi, but with 183 supply liquor, Killer Killer is looking pretty good. And jjakji, even though he got off all those beautiful EMPs, doesn't seem able to deal with the army of the Protoss player.
No, not at all. Yeah, I didn't even see what happened to his Vikings. Perhaps they got annihilated by the Archons, but all of his Vikings died very, very quickly, and so they weren't able to actually do much damage to the Colossi. Now, we have Warp Prism Speed being researched right now, so we could see some harassment from Killer coming on here pretty soon.
I'm actually amazed by Killer's ability to control that game. jjakji put a lot of pressure onto the Protoss player and had a significant advantage several times, but now Killer is looking really good with 200 supply, even though his 4th base is under attack, taken out by those Marauders. But Killer himself is with some of the Blink Stalkers in the main base. He advanced to the main base of his opponent and is just taking out tech structures, and as you can see, those probes die, but Killer doesn't really care. He's on 200 supply, researching the +3 shield upgrade, and he has a massive army, a lot of Archons, and of course those Colossi and Zealots in the back.
That is one of the dangerous... Oh, he's going to load up. Oh, and he doesn't see it. That is one of the dangerous things about having such a good bio... Oh, no! What is it? Oh, almost flew into those Archons and lost his medevacs, but they do remain alive. But this is one of the powerful things about this late-game Terran army is a very small force can take out a Nexus so fast. It's so difficult for the Protoss player to get additional bases around the map, because all jjakji has to do is just load up some Marauders and medevacs and run them all over the place, and he can snipe Nexuses very quickly. So that's why we have Killer still barely on his 4th base, and I think his first 3 are mined out right now.
The main problem for the Terran player right now is that he only has 4 Ghosts, whereas his opponent commands 10, now 11 High Templars. 16! Is that a 6? I think that's 16 High Templars. Oh my god.
Oh wow.
So this is going to be quite brutal for jjakji. He won't be able... Well, if Killer doesn't clump up all of his High Templars, there is no way in hell that jjakji is able to EMP all those High Templars. So there will be a lot of storms and feedback. Here we go.
Oh, gets one.
One of them
does go down, but that is just one of many. Exactly. He is pretty clumped up, though. He needs to be careful. There's still a few ghosts. EMP on all the Templar. Beautiful. There's still some more Templar coming from behind, but jjakji is falling back with his Bioforce, and jjakji, as his force gets hunted down by the Colossus GGs and leaves the game. Killer is victorious. Game number 2 of this group.
I really liked that game quite a lot.
That was awesome.
We had a lot of comebacks in this game, and at some point I already thought that jjakji would be able to take that win. Yeah. When he approached the army of his opponent, took out all the Colossi with the Vikings, and then tried to walk up that ramp, but with all those reinforcements of Killer, and of course that upgrade advantage that he had, he was able to take out most of the Marauders and force jjakji back. And the Terran player at that point in time didn't really recover from the losses that he had to take, especially with all those ghosts. I was really amazed by Killer's army control in some of those fights, even though he got EMP'd. He took out the Terran player, and yeah, very well done by Killer.
Yes, indeed. Extremely well done by Killer. Just having really, really good army composition, and just, I mean, it just came down a lot of the times that Killer would just managed to kill all the Vikings, and so his Colossus were too powerful for jjakji to handle, or he would kill all the ghosts and he'd be forced back by, you know, the Archons and the Templars, but usually those Colossus were just too strong. I'm surprised we didn't get to see that. I don't know if we saw that Warp wasn't doing anything. Maybe that's what that Warp they're doing to the main were actually, but anyway, Killer just played wonderfully, and yeah, just barely held off a few attacks like we were saying, but managed to win.
So we're the Protoss player in this group with his first win. He will have to face Don Ragu fairly soon. Before that, we have another Terran versus Zer coming up. It's going to be Slayers Ganzi against FXO Lenok. It's going to be quite a blast on Belcher Beach. Really excited to see that match. So without further ado, let's jump into the match.